Then the screen came to life. A video. Jaden. The kitchen. The morning. The betrayal. Every frame. Every sound. Crystal clear. The room went dead silent. Kyra dropped her mug. Jaden ran in just as Kendrick turned around. Kendrick's eyes. Empty. Blank. Broken. He looked at Kyra. You and him. She stepped forward. Kendrick. He raised his hand. Don't say a word. Then he turned to Jaden. You. Jaden opened his mouth, but Kendrick didn't wait. Bam. One punch. Right to Jaden's jaw. Jaden stumbled back. Blood on his lip. Kendrick moved toward him again. Jaden didn't fight back. Didn't lift a finger. You stood beside me. Ate my food. Laughed in my house. And you were screwing her behind my back. Jaden wiped the blood. I didn't plan it. Kendrick laughed bitterly. That makes it better. He turned to Kyra. You. I gave you everything. Tears streamed down her face. I didn't mean to. Get out. Her heart cracked open. Kendrick, please. Both of you. Now. Jaden grabbed her arm. Come on. He's not in the right state. I said get out. Kyra grabbed her purse. Her legs trembled. Jaden led her out. The door slammed behind them. Silence. Kyra fell to her knees on the lawn. Sobbing. Ugly, broken sobs. Jaden knelt beside her. I'm sorry, he whispered. This wasn't how I wanted it. She shook her head. It's all gone. I destroyed everything. Jaden wrapped his arms around her. They sat there, under the cold sky. Two sinners. One storm. Kendrick stood in the living room. The video was still paused on the screen. He stared at it. Expressionless. Breathing shallow. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. Told you they'd betray you. But don't worry, we are not done. His hands trembled. Another message followed. You think this was bad? Wait till you learn why they did it. Click. Kendrick stared at the screen. Rage. Confusion. Pain. And somewhere deep down, a dangerous thirst for answers. The door had slammed behind them, but the echo still rang in Kyra's chest. She stayed there, knees in the grass, sobbing like something inside her heart snapped. Jaden didn't know what to say. He crouched beside her, his jaw clenched, his hand resting on her back. I should have stayed away from you, Kyra choked out, staring at the ground. I ruined the only man who ever loved me right. Jaden looked at her, guilt slicing through him like a knife. You think I don't feel the same? Her head shook slowly. I think we killed something that was beautiful. They didn't go home separately. Not because they wanted to be together, but because they had nowhere else to go. The ride was silent. When they arrived at Kyra's apartment, she didn't even take off her shoes. She walked in like a ghost, dropped her purse, and collapsed on the edge of the bed. Jaden followed closely behind, watching her with a mixture of guilt and worry. She hadn't said a word the entire drive back. He stood in the doorway, hesitant. You want water? Or something to eat? She didn't respond. He sat beside her slowly. Kyra. She turned her face toward the window, the city lights painting streaks across her skin. He looked at me like I was poison. Jaden swallowed. I know. She finally turned to face him. Her voice was hollow. We broke him. Jaden didn't answer. Because she was right. No matter how he tried to soften the truth, it was there. Raw and irreversible. That night, Kyra didn't sleep. Jaden stayed on the couch, staring at the ceiling, listening to her quiet sobs through the thin bedroom wall. Days passed. And slowly, Jaden's role shifted from guilty accomplice to something else. He brought her breakfast, ran her baths, rubbed her shoulders when she shook with silent cries. And she let him. Because her world had collapsed, and Jaden was the only piece still standing. One rainy evening, as thunder rolled through the clouds, Jaden entered the room with a glass of wine in one hand and quiet eyes. "You need to stop punishing yourself," he said, placing the wine on the table. She sat at the window, hugging her knees. "I deserve it." "No, Kyra. We made mistakes, but that doesn't mean you don't deserve to heal." She shook her head. "It's not just about healing. It's about the way I looked in his eyes. The way he backed away like I was a stranger." Jaden walked over, knelt beside her. "Then let me help you forget." Her eyes locked with his, confused. But then, he leaned in. Softly. Slowly. And this time, she didn't stop him. The kiss tasted like guilt and desperation. But she let it happen. Because forgetting felt easier than remembering. Miles away, Kendrick sat in his study, drowning in silence. He hadn't returned to the company. Hadn't picked up calls. The video still played in his mind, on loop. But tonight, something snapped. He picked up his phone and dialed. The voice answered. "Long time, Kendrick. I need someone followed. I need everything, calls, payments, emails, hotel footage. I want to know what I missed. Who's the target? My ex, and my brother. But more importantly, I need you to find out who sent me that video." There was a pause. Then the voice replied, "I'm on it." 2 weeks later, Kendrick stood by the window of his penthouse, the city stretching beneath him, when his phone buzzed. A single message from the investigator. "You're not going to like this." Attached was a file. Kendrick opened it. Images, call logs, a message thread. It all pointed to one person. Camila. His ex. The woman who had once claimed to still love him, even after their breakup. But why? He dialed immediately. "Kendrick," she answered casually, as if nothing was wrong. "Why?" His voice was low. Controlled. She sighed. "Because I couldn't stand watching you fall for someone else so easily. She wasn't worthy of you. You broke us." "No. I just gave you a mirror. She showed you who she really was. I didn't create that." He clenched his jaw. "You sent me that video. I wanted to protect you from a liar. That's all. You wanted to ruin me." Camila didn't deny it. "And yet, you're still standing." He hung up. Furious. Betrayed all over again. But he knew Kyra needed to know the truth. Kyra didn't know when her numbness turned into loneliness. After everything that happened, after the betrayal, the heartbreak, and the shame, she had locked herself in. Curtains closed. Phone on silent. Meals untouched. She barely recognized her reflection anymore. Jaden knew exactly when to show up. Not too soon. Not too late. Just when her silence had stretched too long. He knocked once. Then waited. Kyra opened the door with heavy eyes. She looked thinner. Tired. But not surprised. "I brought food," he said softly, holding up a paper bag. She didn't speak. He didn't push. That night, he sat on her couch again. Like nothing had changed. Like the weight of what they did hadn't shattered 3 lives. But he made her laugh, just once. And once was all he needed. Jaden became a shadow in her home. He started staying over. At first, just on the couch. Then by the second week, he was in her bed. holding her at night when the nightmares came. Whispering things like, "We'll be okay. I'm here now." Kyra wanted to believe him, because believing him was easier than facing the silence. The kisses returned first, then the touches, then everything else. It was messy, emotional, painful, but it felt like something. And something was better than nothing. Or so she thought. 3 weeks after Jaden moved in fully, Kyra noticed the change. He became distant. Cold during the day. Late at night. Always on his phone, stepping outside for calls. Smiling at messages he wouldn't let her see. When she asked, he kissed her forehead. "You overthink too much, Kai." She didn't push. Not yet. But the truth wasn't far behind. The first time he cheated again, she found out from a stranger on Instagram. A girl posted a selfie, wrapped in bedsheets Kyra recognized too well. Jaden's necklace was hanging from the girl's mouth like a trophy. Kyra's heart dropped. When she showed him, he laughed. "She's lying. People fake things for clout. But the sheets, the necklace, too real to be fake." Still, Kyra forgave him. Because pain makes you believe love means suffering. The second time, she caught him red-handed. He said he had a business meeting. She wanted to surprise him with lunch. What she found instead was Jaden, shirtless, opening the door to a woman wrapped in just a robe. The woman smacked. Jaden froze. Kyra didn't cry. She just turned and walked away. That night, he came home angry. "Why would you show up unannounced? Are you trying to control me?" Kyra stood still. "You lied." Jaden's voice rose. "You think I'm your pet now? Oh. After all we've been through." She whispered, "You're the only one who hasn't been through anything." That's when it happened. He slapped her. Not hard enough to knock her down, but enough to silence the room. He stared at her, almost shocked. Kyra touched her cheek. No tears. Just stillness. He mumbled, "I didn't mean." She walked into the bedroom, locked the door, slept on the floor. It became a pattern. He'd cheat. She'd find out. He'd yell. She'd cry. Then he'd say sorry. And she'd forgive him. Until one night, he hit her again. This time, hard enough to bruise. Kyra didn't cry. She stared at the mirror the next morning. Her eyes swollen. Her spirit crushed. And something in her snapped. She waited till he left the house. Then packed his things. Every single item. Every memory. Every lie. When he returned, he found his clothes on the porch. His shoes. His cologne. And Kyra, standing in the doorway with a blank face. "What is this?" he asked, half laughing. "You need to leave." He scoffed. "You're being dramatic." She didn't flinch. "Jaden, if you step in this house again, I will call the police." He stared at her. Rage brewing. But she didn't blink. He took one long look, maybe hoping she'd break. She didn't. Jaden grabbed his things and walked away, muttering curses under his breath. That door closed with finality. And for the first time in months, Kyra felt the silence was hers again. The following week was quiet. No knocks. No calls. Just stillness. But the ache returned. Not for Jaden. Not for what they had. But for what she lost. Kendrick. She missed him. The way he looked at her. The way he never raised his voice. The way he made her feel like she mattered. So she did the one thing she hadn't done in a long time. She reached out. Sent a message. "Can we talk?" No reply. She waited a day. Then two. Then finally. Kendrick responded. I have something to tell you. Meet me tomorrow. Kyra showed up early. Heart racing. Fingers trembling. When Kendrick walked into the quiet cafe, he looked different. Older somehow. But stronger. Clearer. He sat across from her. No hug. No smile. Just calm. Kyra opened her mouth, but Kendrick spoke first. I know everything now. About Camilla. About the blackmail. About the setup. Her breath caught. What do you mean? He nodded. I hired someone. A tech guy. He traced the messages. Tracked the flash drive source. It all pointed to one person. She whispered, Camilla. She wanted to destroy us. And she succeeded. Kyra lowered her gaze. I'm sorry. Kendrick's eyes softened. I forgave you, Kyra. She looked up, hope flickering. But, he added, I can't go back. She froze. Kendrick reached into his pocket. Pulled out a photo. A woman. Smiling. Holding his hand. She helped me breathe again. Helped me live. I almost died after what happened to us. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. But this woman. She pulled me out of the fire. Kyra blinked back tears. I waited for a long time, he said. But when you didn't come, I moved on. She nodded slowly. Painful. But deserved. Does she make you happy? She asked. He smiled. She gives me peace. Kyra stood. Then I'm glad. They stared at each other for a final moment. Then Kendrick walked away. And Kyra didn't stop him this time. When she got home, the house was empty. Jaden was gone. Kendrick was gone. Even Camilla had vanished, leaving behind the ashes of what once was a beautiful life. Kyra sat on her bed, looked around, and realized something. She was finally alone. And maybe that's where the healing could begin. The silence felt different now. Not like the painful quiet after heartbreak. Not the screaming void left by betrayal. But a new kind of silence, clean, calm, sacred. Jaden was gone. Kendrick had moved on. And Kyra was alone. Truly alone. She didn't cry that morning. She made herself breakfast for the first time in months. Just 2 eggs, toast, and black coffee. She ate in silence. Not because she was sad, but because she was finally listening to herself. Every bite was heavy. But healing starts slow. She turned off her phone. She needed space. From everyone. From the world. From her past. The bruises on her face faded by the 3rd week. But the bruises on her soul, those ran deeper. She couldn't believe she let it all happen, the lies, the cheating, the slaps, the begging. How did she become that woman? The one who stayed even when the love was poisoned. She began writing again. Journals filled with raw pain, with questions, with blame, and finally, with truth. I was scared to be alone. I wanted someone to love me so badly, I settled for less. Now, I want me back. Each word felt like a wound stitching itself shut. One afternoon, her mother called. Kyra answered. Are you okay? Her mother asked gently. Kyra hesitated. I think so. I'm just trying to breathe again. Her mother didn't push. She just whispered, take all the time you need. Kyra spent her evenings watching the sunset through her window. Same view. Same buildings. But everything felt different now. Sometimes, she thought about Kendrick. Not with regret. But with peace. He had found someone. And that woman had given him peace. That's all Kyra ever wanted, for both of them. She started therapy. At first, she didn't speak much. Just sat there with folded arms and broken eyes. But week by week, the walls came down. She spoke about her childhood, about her need to please people, about the fear of being abandoned. I thought love meant sacrifice, she said one day. Even when it cost me my dignity. The therapist leaned in. Love doesn't hurt you. People who don't know how to love do. Kyra didn't reply. But her heart did. She unfollowed Jaden. Deleted every message. Every picture. Every call log. She blocked his number, not out of hate, but out of survival. He never tried to come back. Maybe he knew she was done. Maybe he just didn't care anymore. Either way, she was grateful. Camila's name never surfaced again. No arrest. No apology. No explanation. She had vanished into thin air, taking her secrets with her. But the damage was done. And Kyra knew if she ever saw her again, she wouldn't ask why. She would simply walk away. Because closure wasn't always necessary. Peace was better. By the second month of her solitude, Kyra began to smile again. Not the fake kind she wore with Jaden. Not the false one she gave Kendrick. But soft, genuine smiles. Quiet ones. The kind that appeared when she watered her plants. When she danced barefoot in her kitchen. When she read her old poems. She didn't rush her healing. She gave herself permission to be slow, to stumble, to cry, to laugh. She forgave herself. That was the hardest part. One morning, she stood in front of the mirror. Hair tied up. No makeup. Just her. She whispered, "I forgive you." And meant it. She didn't miss Jaden anymore. She didn't long for Kendrick either. She missed the version of herself she lost while loving them. But day by day, she was finding that woman again. Stronger. Wiser. Softer, but sharper. A friend invited her out. A small gathering. Nothing serious. At first, she hesitated. But then she said yes. She wore a simple dress. No heels. Just confidence. She didn't flirt. Didn't scan the room for attention. She just enjoyed the night. And when she laughed, really laughed, the people around her noticed. Not because she was the loudest. But because her peace was glowing. On her way home, she looked out of the car window. City lights danced across the windshield. For the first time, she didn't feel empty. She felt full. Not because of anyone. But because she chose herself. Finally. When she got home, she opened her journal and wrote. I thought losing them would break me. But losing myself was worse. Now I see, this version of me, the one who walked through fire and didn't let it kill her. She's the woman I was always meant to be. Kyra closed the book. Exhaled deeply. Then smiled. Tomorrow wasn't promised. But she was ready to meet it head-on. Alone, but not lonely. Healing, not hurting. Free.